Alright, Shalom, Shalom. This is your brother Issachar coming back at you with another lesson. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Makwakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect and the 144,000 scattered across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you. Alright, in today's lesson, we're going to go
3D
into
printing is growing in popularity, and printers like the Bamboo Lab P2S AMS combo make jumping in way easier than you'd expect. This is Ada.
It's key, you know, patience is very important in this thing because, you know, when you go to serve the Lord, you know, when we come to serve the Lord, you know, there's a lot of trials and tests, you know, that comes along with it, you know. Then not only that, you know, being in our enemy's kingdom, you know, this place is bugged out, you know. So, you know, we're underneath the curses, all right. But when you believe in the Lord, you're going to be tested. Remember that, you know. So you gotta have patience. You gotta have patience. All right. Understand that. Okay. Patience is a must. See, the reason why people, you know, fall off to the wayside or, you know, sell off for the bag, because they tend to be like, you know, their daddy Esau. You know, they want it and they want it now. You see, the cares of this world. All right, it's very, very important, you know, because you know, we're taught differently, all right, in the truth, all right, from the ways of Esau. All right, you know, the hell with this man. All right, you know, he sold his birthright, all right, just for some red meat. All right, when there was plenty of, you know, fruit around. You know, they weren't in the middle of the Sahara Desert when Esau sold his birthright to Jacob. All right, this is to show you the characteristics of Esau. Okay, the cave dweller. All right, he's a base man. You know, he could have waited a little bit. You know, around the house, you know, they had something. You know, fruit, walnuts, you name it. You know, they had something. They weren't just like in the middle of Sahara, you see? But that just shows you Esau, you know, the so-called white man. You know, he wants it now. Alright, even if it's going to destroy him, even if it costs him his birthright. See? Ecclesiasticus, alright, or Sirach, chapter 2, we're going to get that whole chapter. From verse 1 all the way down to 18 verse. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, prepare thy soul for temptation. Alright, so when you come into the truth, alright, it's going to come with a whole lot, alright, it's going to come with a whole lot of tests, okay, tribulations. Alright, the Lord's going to test your character, your patience. Alright, we got to overcome this thing, just like our Lord Yahushua. You see? Verse 2. Temptation, that means test. Alright, trial. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure. And make not haste in time of trouble. Right. Okay, this right here is very, very important. Ecclesiasticus chapter 2 verse 2. Set thy heart aright. That means you know, our minds. Okay, because your heart, alright, our heart is just a muscle in the middle of our body that pumps blood. Okay, that word right there, heart, is loud. That's our mind. Okay, because you gotta be a soldier in this thing. You know, you gotta know what you're involved in. Alright, but you also gotta be ready for those trials and tribulations. Alright, and constantly endure. Right there, okay? So it's constant endure. All right? And constantly endure. So you gotta constantly endure. All right? So that don't mean that, all right, the Lord's gonna put you through a little bit, and then once you cross over, once you reach a certain level, that's it. No, it's constantly, because we're constantly gonna be fighting these demons and the spiritual fight, okay, all the way till Yahushua gets here. All right, all the way. All right, and make not haste in time of trouble. So what's the Lord telling us right here? Okay, all right. Don't murmur, don't complain. All right, make not haste in time of trouble. So when you're going through your trials and tribulations, man up. Okay, man up, because who's putting us through it? The Lord. All right, the Lord. You gotta understand that, So make not haste in time of trouble, right? So stand up like a man. In other words, handle it. Stand up like a man and handle it. Verse 3, cleave unto him and depart not away. So, yeah, we're cleaving unto the Lord, not unto the ways of this new world order, all right, the ways of this world, because Esau's finished, all right, our enemies are finished. You see, John the Revelator tells us in Revelation chapter 18, 3 times, that the Lord's going to destroy enemies in 1 hour. All right, so never mind them, never mind Esau. He's finished. He's completely screwed, So remember, our enemies, they're in desperation mode. You got to understand that. They're in desperation mode. All right. Those of you that are in the truth, you know very well that, we're entering a time of, persecution, but we're also entering the time of spiritual power, divine intervention, miracles. Cleave unto him and depart not away. Yeah, so don't, you want to be in the truth, okay? You don't want to be left out there. Don't try to do your own thing, okay? Depart not away. See that? And thou mayest be increased at thy last end. So the Lord's going to give you the increase. All right? The Lord's going to give you that, He's going to give you that boost. He's going to, it's kind of like when you're playing a video game, All right? You know how you get stronger, you have to pass certain levels. All right? Yeah. Then you get the increase, you get like better things, That's how it is. All right? Because you have, there's levels to this thing. And the Lord's going to give you the increase. All right? It's just like when you play a video game, You have to go through all kinds of, battles, and depends on what you're playing, to beat that level. Then you go to like the boss, but you don't go directly to the boss, Like let's say you're playing like a fighting game, you got to learn how to fight, and you got a lot of opponents in your way, So that's how it is. All right, we got obstacles, and we got this flesh, all right, that it's always going to be there, okay, because we're in the chains of darkness, all right? You got to understand that. So we're always going to be fighting that battle all the way to the ships get here, because we're these bodies, this is the chains of darkness, all right? So no one's going to be perfect out there. I don't care what you're talking about. All right, and we're still underneath the curses, but we're learning, all right, the ways, of our heritage, our nationality. You see, we're rehearsing the righteous acts, and the main thing is you gotta trust in the Lord, and be patient. You see, try not to move. Don't move, just because you feel like moving. Like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. You gotta really trust in the Lord. Remember, the Lord's our guide. Verse 4, whatsoever is brought upon, here we go. Okay, this is the point. Check it out. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Right. So don't matter. The Lord can have you, get locked up. The Lord can have you lose your job. The Lord can have you lose a family member. All right. That's just a quick testimony. Not to ramble a lot about myself, but as soon as I came into the truth, the Lord took my family from me right away. That was the first thing I lost, was my family. You see? But I still endured. Yeah. So the Lord knows, if you're part of the hopeful elect, the Lord knows what you need and don't need. And remember, like the book of Job. All right. Remember, we're gonna get everything back 100-fold. You see? Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Right there. See that? Because the Lord's putting it on you. The Lord's testing you. All right, let's see, and be patient. All right, there's the key right there. Patience is key. All right. Being patient in the Lord, but trust in the Lord. All right, remember, these phonies out here, these non-believers, man, they're going to be in a very, the Lord's going to expose them, because they're not patient, and they don't believe in the Lord. So, we're going to see what's going to happen here, in the hour of temptation. That's going to separate
1 second, your dream's protected.
The believers from the non-believers. And we're not that far from that. So we're entering a serious time, but also a beautiful time. Because remember, also Isaiah says it, all right, 66 chapter, verse 14, that it's going to be known out here who the Lord's enemies are, who the Lord's with and who the Lord's not with. All right. Because the elect are going to be sustained, okay, but also they're going to reject Esau's New World Order, his RFID microchip. All right, yeah, that's a very it's a very serious time, but it's a beautiful time as well. Why is that? Because we're gonna know who's real and who's not. Hey, that's a beautiful thing right there, just to know that, you have a true brother or sister who's a believer in this thing, it don't matter the conditions, that's just the way I see it, at least, it don't matter what we're going through, just to know that you're right there beside with a true brother, it don't matter the conditions, because the Lord's our creator, and this is his planet, the Lord can make anything happen. Like he did with Moses, okay? Like he made water come out of that rock when Moses split the rock. Okay, when Samson killed 100 Philistines and he made water come out of that, the jawbone of a donkey, of an ass. All right. So remember, the Lord can. Remember, when you think that you're back against the wall, the Lord can make things happen. This is why you can't lean not unto their own understanding. All right, you gotta know there's unlimited possibilities with the Lord, but you really gotta believe that, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower estate. Yeah, because you're gonna be tried. All right, so be patient. So with that, also, you have to know that it's coming. That's why Isaiah 33:6, knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times, because you're going to understand, well, hey, you can be getting judged, if you lose a job, you lose a house, all right, that the Lord's in control. Okay, so well, hey, it could be, either one or the other, either, the Lord, because we are paying for our sins, also what we did in our past life. So we can be getting, judged, paying for our sins. The Lord can be testing us, seeing, our character, what I'm saying? So you got to understand that. Remember, ain't nothing like, oh, I just had bad luck, and nah, Everything is from the Lord. All right. Verse 5, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Right. Okay, because in this time that we're entering, okay, it's going to be known out here who the elect are. It's going to be known. It's going to be known. Believe in him and he will help you. Right. You got to really believe that. Not just be like, yeah, you know, I believe in the Lord. No, you got to, we're going to see. You know, in this time that we're entering, we're going to see. Order thy way aright and trust in him. Right there. Because you gotta have patience, but you gotta trust in him. See? Ye that fear the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, wait for his mercy, and go not aside lest you fall. Right? Okay, so don't take off like, well, shit, man, you know, I came to serve the Lord, and you know, I lost my job, lost my car right away. They're tests, they're trials. All right, but if you're part of the hopeful elect, the Lord's gonna give you what you need. This is why also you got to understand that that daily bread. Okay, so you know, because if you're out here with the mindset like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be in the truth and then, you know, be a millionaire and all that, it's not gonna happen. All right, I mean it can. All right, because there are different offices out there. You know, let's say you do make, you know, a couple $100,000 a year or whatever. All right, that's only a few of the hopeful elect, because the majority of the hopeful elect don't have too much. You know, but you just got to understand that you can't have one foot in, one foot out. So go not aside lest you fall. Yeah, so don't turn away from the truth. Meaning, let me read it one more time. Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 7. Ye that fear the Lord. So, right there, you gotta fear the Lord. Alright? That's the thing. The 2/3 of our people, they care about what people think about them. They're trying to save the heathen. Alright? Since when? You know? Since when is the Lord going to save the heathen? Since when? You know? So right there, very important. Ye that fear the Lord, because you gotta fear. Because if you don't fear the Lord, you're gonna be like, well, whatever. I'm just gonna be out here. You know, I'm just gonna get the bag. Fuck it, get money. Excuse my Italian. So you gotta fear, because the hopeful elect, it don't matter how you slice it. Okay, they're gonna get, you know, they're gonna get right with the Lord. You know, just like anything else. You know, wait for his mercy. So wait. Okay, be patient. Alright, so you gotta fear the Lord, be patient, wait. Okay, it doesn't say hurry up. Okay, get the bag and all that. Alright, and go not aside lest you fall. So don't turn from the truth. Okay, this is all we got. Okay, but this is all we need. Alright, is the Lord in this word. This you can't put a price on this word. Alright, you can't put a price, it's precious. Ye that fear the Lord, believe in him, and your reward shall not fail. Because the Lord's faithful. Ye that fear the Lord, hope for good. Okay, because we're prisoners of hope. And for everlasting joy and mercy. Look at the generations of old, and see that did ever trust in the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and was confounded? Right. Samson, Daniel in the lion's den, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Alright? Or did any abide in his fear, or was forsaken? Or whom did ever despise that they called upon him? That called upon him. Okay? Or whom did he ever despise? Because if you trust in the Lord, he's gonna, you know, if you really are, you know, putting in, being diligent and, you know, making effort, okay, the Lord's not gonna despise you, because, you know, he knows if you're being a phony or not. That called upon him. For the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in time of affliction. Right? Oh, absolutely. Woe be to the fearful heart, and faint hand, and the sinner that go two ways. See that? Yeah, right there. Okay, two ways. Alright, because Kevin Kazariak, Genesis, IUIC, you guys are trying to have one foot in, one foot out. There's no gray area. Either you're gonna serve the Lord, or not. You see, who knows? The Lord, He may snap Nate out of it, because we don't know. It's just right now he's going off. Okay, but that don't mean that he's not a member of the hopeful elect. He could come back. The Lord can do anything. The Lord can do anything. You gotta understand that. All right, but as of right now, yeah, he's messing up. But who knows? The Lord can do anything. You gotta understand that. So two ways. So yeah, you can't be, down with the ways of this world and the Lord. It's one or the other. Woe unto him that is faithful hearted. So you can't be a weakling. You gotta be bold. For he believeth not. Therefore shall he not be defended. Right. The Lord saying, hey man, you believe in me or not? All right, stand up. Be strong. What the hell? The Lord don't like no cowards. All right then. Woe unto you that have lost patience. Right. Okay. And what will ye do when the Lord shall visit you? Damn. Exactly. Because, it's a fearful thing to fall in the hands of the living power. Yahweh Shem Yahushai. They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word. And they that love him will keep his ways. Right. They that fear the Lord will seek that. Ye that fear the Lord will seek that which is well. See that? Because the righteous, that's what the hopeful elect are doing. We're rehearsing the righteous we're rehearsing the righteous acts. We're repenting. We're trying to do what's pleasing in the eyes of the Lord. They that fear the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, will seek that which is well, pleasing unto him. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to please the Lord. They that love him shall be filled with the law. Right. They that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts, their minds, and humble their souls in his sight. Yes, it's not about you. Okay? Alright? Saying, we will faint into the hands of the Lord. We will fall into the hands of the Lord, and not into the hands of men. Right. So don't trust Esau. Okay? We gotta trust in the Lord. For as his majesty is, so is his mercy. So right there, all right. The Lord's faithful, and he's gonna be on time. The Lord's gonna be there on time. Maybe not when you want him, but he's gonna be there on time. Okay, absolutely. With that, stay strong. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. And just stay patient, stay on the path. And just get right with the Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and know that our enemies are out of here. They're out of here. They're finished. So with that, on your feet, soldiers. Shalom.